Hello everybody. Happy Monday. How's it going? You guys cool? We are at the start of yet another busy week. Oh, dearie me. The road goes ever on and on. How are you all doing? Are you happy? Are you having a good day? You enjoying your Monday? We are back with Me Time Mondays. We will not be doing this next week because I'm not here. I'm actually taking a break. I'm going to see my parents. I know. But don't worry. There will be content in the meantime. Including something that I did over the weekend. I'd like to show it to you. I painted a glove. So hopefully you can fit your whole hand in here. Wait. Yes, I over the weekend painted the Stormreach portal. So we managed to get that all done. So there is a video for this on the way for you lovely people. And of course, if you saw the I didn't do the inside, as you can see. If you saw the Stormcast video on the weekend, there is a lot of painting tutorials already done. So we have things like this Lord Terminus who is here, and I actually finished the Memorian to go with the Lord Terminus. So that's done. Iridan is done. The Lord Celestant is done. Stormreach Portal. Lord Terminus. Stormreach Portal. Iridan the Witness. Lord Relictor. Lord Celestant. There's one more. Taunus the Redeemed. What will we see first? Well, you tell me. What do you want to see first? Bearing in mind, the first one will be tomorrow. And we're working on video number 7 today. So this is what I've been doing last night and today. So been working on the Stormstrike Palladors. So here's Stormstrike Pallador number 1. As you can see, we're in a bit of an ugly phase at the moment. But the Griff is all done. Stormstrike Pallador number 2 is this one. And again, the Palador, the Griff, is all done. And I bet you can see where this is going. There is going to be a third one, and the Griff is all done. There it is. So that's your 3 recipes for Griffs in one. And then, if I have time, there will also be some Reclusians that will get done. Not today, but there will be some Reclusians that will get done in the colours of the Celestial Vindicators. And on Saturday, I pre-ordered another box of Reclusians, and I need to get one more. And I kind of want to get another box of Stormstrike Palladors, and I want to get another Prosecutors as well. But we shall see. How long are you giving yourself off? Very much deserved. 4 days. So we're heading down to Southsea to see my mum and dad on Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, back on Tuesday. Where I will be right back to work, of course. So there you have it. So today, live, we're going to do a little bit of filming. I don't anticipate we're actually going to get very much done because we've got 2 hours, and the next job is to shade all the gold, which might be the most boring stream anyone has ever seen. Me just applying a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Fireslayer Flesh over the top of a lot of gold. But it does mean that the video gets done quicker, which means Josh is a happier boy. And we shall, of course, do it together. But before we do any of that, I must remind all of you to please leave a like on the stream. It would be exceptionally kind of you if you could do so, because if you do that, more people will come and subscribe to the channel. And as you can see, things are ramping up. We're on 71,041 subscribers now, which is madness, because we were not on that about a week and a half ago. And additionally, YouTuber stuff. I know. But before we get into any painting, I must just remind you that if you would like to support the channel a little bit further, you can do so. You can do this by either sending a super chat today with a question, a comment, an insult, any of that kind of thing that you wish to throw at me or have answered or whatever. You can do that. You can also become a member, or you can consider, if you are already a member, gifting some memberships. Additionally, if you don't want to give YouTube any money, there is a PayPal donation link in the bottom in the description. You can do that as well. There's loads of options. But there we go. YouTubery stuff over. What will the other Reclusians box be painted as? So my plan at the moment is I want to create a Ruination Chamber list, or a heavy Ruination Chamber list with Iridan the Witness, and basically almost all Ruination Chamber stuff. So Iridan the Witness is in there, and because we already have 3 Reclusians painted as Hallowed Knights and 3 Prosecutors as Hallowed Knights, and we've got a bunch of Hallowed Knights characters that can go into the Ruination Chamber. One of those boxes of Reclusians will be into the Hallowed Knights. So we either have 2 units of 3 or 1 of 6 for the Hallowed Knights. Then, Celestial Vindicators, we're going to have the Lord Terminos leading a unit of Prosecutors and 2 units of Reclusians. And that's as far as I've got so far. Can you use discontinued models for your Anvil of Apotheosis generals, or do you have to kit bash them? I don't see there being any reason why you couldn't do that. So I don't know if you've seen all the things that have been previewed, but there's something called the Storm Coven is no longer going to Legends, because Domitan's Storm Coven is, but the Storm Coven, which is the same set of models, is becoming a non-unique unit of 3 wizards, for example. And so my plan is to bench a bunch of Storm Covens. However, I've got a load of old Sacrosanct models, things like the Lord Exorcist, a bunch of Knight Incantors and stuff. So I'm just going to use them as Storm Covens. I'm going to paint 3 of them up for each of the Storm Covens. The old Lord Celestant, you absolutely can use it. It still has the same, it still has the same stuff on it. The old Knight Azeroth you could probably use. Its profile would be very different though. The new Knight Azeroth's wings are down, whereas the old one, the wings are right up. So it might be easier to spot. But I'm sure that there is not a problem at all. Now, a lot of it is just a case of some of it's gone to Legends. Like the old Liberators have gone to Legends, and the reason they've gone to Legends is that the old War Scroll let you take swords. Swords are no longer an option, but that doesn't mean you can't use them as new Liberators. You see, I also think that there's definitely scope for taking old heroes and just using them as Quest to Soulsworn, so like an old Knight Heraldor and stuff like that. Just, you can absolutely do it. How will Knights Excelsior's Ruination Chamber be colder? So thank you very much, New Dot Prime, for the 5. I don't think you would change the Knights Excelsior that much. I think what you would just do is you would make them more beaten up. Edward705, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships. You're an absolute legend. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. If they have fly, does that matter? What, on the new characters? New/old? I don't think it really does. It's all of the base sizes are pretty much exactly the same. I think you would want a new Knight Azeroth because it's a much lovelier model than the old one. Titan Fund is going well. Titan Fund is going very well. I want to thank Alan, if he's here, who sent a PayPal donation today for a lot of money. For £220 towards the Warlord Fund. So as you can see, we're only £150 off it now. And I'm terrified. Absolutely terrified of having to do it. Do you like the new kill team revealed today? I do. I think it's cool. MDF terrain. If it's good quality MDF terrain, Games Workshop are going to single-handedly completely change up that that entire market. If it's really high quality MDF terrain and it looks good, it's a big deal. That's a big moment for Games Workshop and for the hobby space. Hi, Chris Bailey. But I think it's good stuff. Well, we'll have to see. They haven't sent it to me, so maybe they will. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Okay. We're gonna get things started in just a moment. The most boring the most boring stream you've ever seen. It'll be so relaxing though. If you're having a hard day, you know, this is the stream to watch. It's just going to be some lo-fi hip-hop and me occasionally cackling over the top of it. But otherwise, we're just going to be shading stuff. Okay. If you're ready... because I'm ready. So, we are now recording, so for everybody, quiet on set. So with all of that Retributor armor now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to shade it all. And we're going to use a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Larmian Medium and Fire Slayer Flesh to do this. And we just want to really kind of get it all on there. Like this. We only really need to be careful around the griff. But otherwise we should be fine. But as always, just take your time. Move methodically through the model so as not to miss bits. There we go, we did it. These paladors are very nice models. I do stand by what I said in the sprue review, in that I wish it was a unit of 5 or it didn't have a banner and a musician option. Because you are just missing out if you don't put the banner or the musician on. But when you have a unit of 3, it just sort of tends to look like a command squad. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like, I do find myself compelled to buy a second box so that I can run them as a unit of 6 and actually have some that are wielding weapons, as it were. Where are we going next? Oh yeah, right up under here. Oh, good lord. Sorry about that. You know when you just sense the sneeze coming on? Yeah, that's what that was. I was like, I know this is going to happen. getting there, isn't it? My man, will you be getting sent the new Lord of the Rings box set to paint, do you know? I have no idea, Oliver, unfortunately. I hope I do, but I am entirely at the whim of Games Workshop as to whether or not they'll send it to me. If they don't, I will buy it myself. But I would like to do it. I would like to hope that they will send it to me, only just because I feel like I was the only one that they sent the Werewolves of Angmar and that to, and I followed through. Be funny if that was the test. What's left? Oh, just his arm. There we go. One down. Evening, Demogorgon. Thank you, Reza. Thank you, Edward. The quality of the paint job of my army hinges on your guides. I understand, Oliver. Hey, Jason. Hello, Alan. You mentioned last week about shifting from contrast to Lamia medium. Can this be fully applied to your past paint schemes, or is there still a time and place to go with the contrast medium? Yeah, that's a great question. There is contrast medium still absolutely is a banger of a medium. I think it still very much applies. I think you need a little bit more of it than you do for. So, for example, like if you have an old scheme of mine where there's like 3 or 4 layers of contrast paints to get to the color that it needs to get to, The reason I've had to do that is because I've been using contrast medium to get it to the flow and the color where it runs for long enough that I can actually do things like the blending or whatnot. What Lamian medium lets you do is it lets you kind of almost halve the time but improve the longevity of the paint. So it's much better for things like blending and stuff, I find, Lamian medium, because you can make stronger colors and it stays wetter for longer, so it works for longer. So for example, if you see some like my older videos, like, so in fact there's a really great example of this coming, right? Celestial Vindicators, I used to do it 6 parts contrast medium to 1 part Achillean green would be the shady mixture over the top. Now we use like 2 to 1 of Lamian medium. But I think there's also other things to consider in that. A lot of my videos were made pre-contrast 2, where we would use lots of contrast medium in order to make shades as well. So like, for example, a replacement for Agrax Earthshade is 6 parts contrast medium to 1 part Wildwood, which gives you Agrax Earthshade basically. But I think, yeah, they are kind of almost interchangeable. I just think Lamian medium is easier to work with than contrast medium is, which is why I've worked with it a lot more in recent times. I pretty much almost exclusively work with it, to be honest. But yeah, contrast, 100% contrast medium still a good medium to use. You helped me so much with my High Fleet Leviathan, and now I'm painting Cruel Boys. Oh, thank you, Spar2. So Sons of the Gladius will have a darker green as the Ruination Chamber. Yeah, slightly darker. Generally, I think. They just need to look a little bit more beaten up, essentially. Lamian stays wetter for longer. Can it be applied on people? Yes. Right, let's go for a quick run at the next Palador. We'll go with this one. Old Toot the Horn Lady. We've still got a bit of shade thinned down. Yes, we do. I mean, that's a great example right there. So you see how I was just talking for 5 minutes. If you did that with contrast medium, it would have completely dried out. Lamian medium, it was fine. There's still some there, which I can come back in. I didn't plan that, but I kind of wish I had. camera wants to focus so bad. Sorry. Does Lamy medium also helps that white collars such as Korax white flows better and will not dry on the brush immediately? Yeah. So, yeah. Like, so I mean, the thing with using water. So here's an interesting and slightly boring discussion for you. Water dries as water dries. So let's say you're working in a hot room. Water will dry out at the speed it's going to dry out in that hot room. Lamy medium won't because it's not water. It's got a longer drying time. It will dry out at the same speed as a glob of paint. Because it's paint without any colour in it, basically. Lamy medium is excellent for thinning down sort of more problematic colours like your Korax whites or whatever. I mean, in an ideal world, Lamium would be really cheap. Well, any paint medium would be so cheap that it would be just worth using it for everything. But water is technically free. So, like, if you're creating glazes or whatever, you can do it with water, but you're better to do it with a medium because it will stay much wetter for longer. And you'll keep the properties of the paint more intact. Water dilutes your paint, which is why it makes it apply smoother. Lamy medium does the same thing, but it's diluting paint with more paint. Well, we've gone over a little bit there. There we go. Fixed it. Wisdom of the apes. Yeah, well, I know. That's what I mean. It sounds dumb, but like sometimes a little bit of like a dumb saying is kind of. It might be a little bit of the. It might be something that someone needs to hear. So, for example, another piece of dumb advice when it comes to applying runny paints is that gravity exists. So when you stand a model straight up and you apply a bunch of runny paint to it, the paint all runs to the bottom. And when you use very runny paints, it creates a drip. And because you're not using water, you're using something that's got particulate in it, it will form a drip that will dry on your model. So that is why you can sometimes get a very uneven finish from something like a contrast paint, because contrast paints are inherently runnier than a traditional paint, just by their very nature, even if you don't do kind of adding a bunch of medium or whatever to it. Which is why sometimes what you can have happen, if you apply too much paint at the top of something, is you can come back to it half an hour later and you can see it's collected at the bottom there, which is, mine has done, but that's okay because that's kind of where you want it to collect. But it can do it, for example, on cloaks. So if I finish painting this cloak and then just left it like that, all the paint would run down to the bottom of the cloak. Helpfully, these cloaks are flat. See, flat on. So it would collect there in the middle if I used too much paint at once. I think that's number 2 done. Looks like it. Yeah, you can see you've got another little bit of a collection there on the ankle. Which one, Demogorgon? So we've got 3. So glad to see. More Hammers of Sigma. Yes. Seems to focus more on the matte than it does on the miniature. Yeah, I think I need to figure out a different background for the painting tutorials. But I want it to be like, because for ages it was the Citadel painting map. For a long time we had Citadel written across the back, and then we upgraded to this. So what I would like to do is try and get like a custom cutting mat with my logo just in an outline in the middle. That's what I'd love to do. Do you think the Lamium will work better with Dark Angel's Green than the contrast medium, so it's not a horrible paint to use? Oh, yeah, exactly, Mark. That's exactly right, Mark 10 Gaming. Lamium medium with Dark Angel's Green and Shyish Purple makes them downright usable. Makes them almost like great paints. Excited about the future classic Warlord versus Contrast Warlord. Am I buying 2 Warlord Titans? I will definitely cry if I had to do 2. I'm gonna cry when I have to do 1. It terrifies me. It literally terrifies me. The Hornblower, I think you called it. Oh yeah. All right. So this one. So this one here. The colours are Griffcharger Grey as a base, then some thinned down, I can't remember the ratio, of Achillean, Lamium Medium and Achillean Green used to pick out the back fur and the tail and the socks on the back, and then the feathers here. Then Ultramarines Blue thinned down 1-to-1, I think it was, on the tail here and here on the feet, and then Black Templar on the feet, if I remember rightly. This was last night. Our first Griff, this one here. Oh, and then it was dry brushed. It was dry brushed twice. So this was dry brushed with Fenrisian Grey on the skin here, and Temple Guard Blue for everything else, and a bit of Dawnstone on the feet. Our first Griff here is Seraphim Sepia, Gorgrunter Fur, a 1-to-1 mix of Gorgrunter Fur and Blood Angels Red, black on the feet, and then a Deathclaw, and then a Wraithbone Dry Brush, a Deathclaw Brown Dry Brush, and a bit of Dawnstone on the feet. And then our third one, this individual here, was Dreadful Visage, followed by thinned down Volupus Pink for the fur and the feathers, then thinned down Shaiish Purple on the tail and on the feet, and then a little bit of Black Templar on the feet. Then it was dry brushed with Pallid Witch Flesh, Slanesh Grey, and a bit of Dawnstone on the feet. So we've got 3 different Griff Charger recipes in here. And actually, Cameron, that right there, that was the one you were asking me about. More or less, right? The Lord Aquilor. There you go, Cameron. I told you I'd get to it eventually. I just didn't know it would be on this model. Are there any more Rise of Angmar MESBG stuff in the pipeline that might be coming soon? Use your guide for my werewolves and it's fantastic. At the moment, Josh, I have Warriors of Khan Doom, Aldrak Fraked or whatever it is, the Shade, and Nazthak. They are all primed. They are all ready to go. But I ran out of time to do them when it came out. So, provided things don't get too mental in November, I might do them then. And the elaborate freehand, but might sack that off. You almost don't need it, really. The purples contrast nicely with the abundance and blues. Yeah, I think this one might be my favourite. But so the reason I did this one in this scheme is for anybody who's interested in doing Vanguard Paladors. There's your scheme right there. So I thought we'll sort Vanguard Palladors. We'll do this one, and then the other one. This is my favourite Griff Charger recipe. We did this on the Stormstrike Chariot. I think it looks great. But there will be some more contrast that goes into it. Like I said, at the moment we're in a bit of an ugly stage. Right, this one's going to be annoying because there's a lot more of it to do. So I think I'm actually, rather than starting on the Griff here, we're just going to start on the banner bits. Get it out of the way. And I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush for this. So I'm going to use a small layer brush. Just get a little bit more control in there. Sometimes. Like, sometimes I kind of wish that my brain would let me just paint one for the video. It's a little bit strong there. There we go. Whew. The 4-year-old vehicle/contrast video was a great watch. Blood Angels Rhino. Great to see the techniques applied to open and flat surfaces. Oh, thank you, Alan. I then later on did a gladiator. I did 2, I think. I did one of Space Walls as well. I kind of think sometimes maybe what I should focus on when I have my little occasional bits of downtime is revisiting videos like that. So just doing a contrast of vehicles part 2 type thing. And just kind of going, oh, look, hey, this is how we can upgrade our techniques that we've learned since then. But you know, you guys really like the individual tutorials. And I wish there was a way that I could encourage YouTube to share certain videos based on like people's search logic, but there isn't really. Because there's things like, well, how would I paint a blue vehicle? And I'm like, well, I've got the Archanaut frigate. That's a blue vehicle, and we have a video on how to do that. What is madness though? I don't think I have any black vehicles on the channel. I paint lots and lots of black armored things, and yet a big black armored model is something that we don't really have. Unless you were to count someone like Archaon as a big black armored model, I suppose. Though a tutorial like Archaon isn't really applicable. I don't know, what do you guys think? What are the types of videos that you would find most useful? Because I feel like an individual unit tutorial has a lot of value for that unit, and of course lateral thinking as well if you follow the channel a lot. But at the same time, I know that people like to see technique videos, but at times I think those can be quite difficult to put together in a meaningful way. That's drying a little bit heavy on the bum. I can't really go in there and muss it up though. Left it too long now. That's okay, because we are going to be relaying it anyway, but... I knew I hadn't done this leg. I was thinking to myself, hey, this has gone pretty quick. Well, obviously it hasn't, Josh. That was a little bit heavy there. We can actually just absorb a little bit of that. We'll do the arm. And as a consequence, the shield. Oh no. There we go. Just about got that in time. So for these guys, it generally doesn't really matter if we've got a little bit of a dark patchy shading in places, because we are going to be relayering it as we customarily do with that Retributor armor. But at the same time, you don't want to have too many unsightly marks. This one's going to be annoying. Get in there at that angle. Yeah, that's fine. That's how we did it the first time. Okay. There we go. If you do Militarum for Tails as you wanted to, a new vehicle video would naturally pop up. Well, see, this is the problem, Edward. I like painting infantry far more than I like painting tanks. And most of my lists are just like 80 or 90 infantry for everything. I was wondering how you hand paint tanks or vehicles without an airbrush. I use brushes and contrast paints. It is possible. There's many videos on the channel that I can show you. You use layers. Thin it down, get it under control, and then use layers. Move methodically, take it a section at a time, and you'll be good to go. Or if you're going to paint something a little bit easier, because there's some contrast paints now that exist that do make things a little bit easier. For example, if you're doing an Imperial Fists army, Imperial Fist as a yellow paint, it's a single pigment contrast paint, which means it goes on beautifully. So you just throw it on over the Wraithbone undercoat, and it looks good. Hi, today I will finish my first set of Stormcast Vanquishers after quitting the hobby about 25 years ago as a teen. Oh, that's awesome, Joe. Welcome back. Alright, what is the next most logical colour for these? It's probably the brown for the rigging. I don't know. I have to sit and think about it. I have to stew for a minute though. But Mad Veteran, if you want to see some examples, you can look up the Hecaton Land Fortress, Space Wolves Gladiator, Rogel Dawn, the Warhound Titan stream, Chaos Titans. I'm trying to think what other big stuff I've done. Yeah. Caradron Overlord's Archanaut Frigate. That's another one. We already talked about it. Asmodeus, thank you very much for the 10 gifted Warhipster memberships. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you so much. Do these get a one-to-one Sycorax Bronze / Retributor? No, they'll just have Retributor. Just Retributor relayed over the top. Can't decide on my Tales project either. Either Spearheads or Conquest Old Dominion. Any thoughts on which I should do? I don't know. I don't know. The choice is yours, my friend. I would say Spearheads, because Spearhead's rad. But I haven't played Conquest. I could just go for an easy next coat. I think I said I was going to use Wildwood on the Pelts. Just straight neat Wildwood. Is Wildwood the right answer here, though? Yeah, I think it is. Let's just go for it. Go for iridescent black. I don't want to. Okay. My wife was bragging about my painting to a friend on the phone. He then linked his golden demon with us. Oh, that's a flex. Alright, everybody quiet on set just for a moment. And I'm just going to hit record. So with all of that Fire Slayer flesh shading now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Wildwood and we're just going to apply this over the top of the Pelts. There, we did it. Oh, wrong one. How do you paint your yellow? Badly. Apparently. Okay, one done. Two more to go. 2 down. Yay, we did it. We did another one. I am a wizard, to be fair. Don't tell anyone. What's left on these guys? Iron Warriors, Skeleton Horde, Null Noil, Black Legion, Cygor Brown, Blood Angels Red. 6. And then after that, just because it makes me happy to do this at this point, we're going to then need Retributor Armor once more. We're going to require Stormhost Silver for a Retributor Armor Stormhost Silver mix. We're going to need Ironbreaker for the silver. We're going to need Hoeth Blow and Fenrisian Grey. We're going to need Korax White, wherever that is. There it is. We're going to need White Scar. For the white. We might need to highlight some red. I don't think we will, though. I think we'll be good in that department. We'll need Gorthor Brown for the brown. Karak Stone for the pelts. Is that it? Oh, and Blood Angels Red for the gems. Yeah, it's really not a lot. Oh, Dawnstone for any black details. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 steps left to go on these. It's a lot of steps. I'm going to treat myself to a snake. No, I'm not. It's currently got things on top of it. Uh, I've painted a lot in the last 3-4 weeks, something like that. It's been very busy. We've been very, very busy. I can't remember the last time we had a 2-video week. Well, it's been a while. It might have been Astaroth. Blood Angels week might have been the last one. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, no, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, Saturday. Yeah. Has Alice painted any minis? She has. She very, very recently finished off her Nighthaunt Spearhead. And she did that yesterday, day before yesterday. She finished it off. And she's going to finish off her Endless Spells next. I gave her a set of Malign Sorcery way before 4th edition was announced. She started painting those. I was having a great time doing it. But yeah, she has this is that the reason why you don't paint too much Nighthaunts up to now? The reason I haven't painted much Nighthaunt is because not much has really been released since I've had a YouTube channel. But everything that has been released since I've had a YouTube channel, I have painted. So I've done the Pyregeists, did the Scriptor Mortis. We did the... No, we didn't do the Crypt Guard, actually. Al did the Crypt Guard. I did do Ulrak the Drowner. But yeah, I mean, she's got this. It's an enormous Nighthaunt army now. I can't remember everything that's in it. She's definitely got most of the characters: Lady Ollander, Night Shrouds. Yeah. Hello, Stoogie. Speaking of having a great time, are you having a great time, Josh? All well? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm very, very tired. Because we've been so in terms of content, it's been a case of since August. Well, no, earlier than that, earlier this year, since July. Well, no, since June. We were doing Project Spearhead in June, and then rolled straight into the Skaventide release, which we then produced a ton of videos for. And then after Skaventide, it ran straight into Blood Angels, the first round, Lamatis and Astaroth. Then there was MESBG. Then we rolled straight into the Skaven release. Then it was Hivestorm. And then Blood Angels again. And now we're on to Stormcast. So we've been kind of been on a pace of filming a video every single day. At least for the last 3.5 weeks or so. So I haven't really had any time to stop. So I'm getting towards the end of that now, though. So this, like I said, this week, Friday is my last day of work until Monday. And then on Tuesday I'll be back to work. The black coach would be really great if there would be a video. I have one, but it's a bit overwhelming for me without your support. Yeah, I understand that, Asmodeus. One of the things you have to do is you have to convince Alice that she wants a black coach, but she doesn't want to paint it. She wants me to do it. She doesn't want a black coach. She doesn't like the model. She thinks it's dumb. So everyone has to try and convince her that she does want one because it's not dumb. And that she wants me to paint it for her. Project Spearhead was your attempt at having a break. And I felt really energized after it. And I loved doing Scaventide. Now I'm at a very natural, low energy moment. As a consequence of having just done a lot already. I mean, because you see, we're already on 451 models painted, and it's only halfway through October. So we're 149 off the target of 600, which I think we're just gonna hit. Does she have Lady Ollander? She does. She did a fantastic job on Lady Ollander. Seems the rest of the year will be fairly quiet for releases compared to normal. Yeah, it does seem that. The only things I think we're going to get before Christmas... We've obviously got Slaves to Darkness, but that's a Battle Tome and a Sorcerer. Speaking of which, mine got dispatched today. My Zarketh Bane of Law. So that's on its way to me. So we'll do a video on that. We'll do a video on that for Slaves to Darkness. We're not getting any more 40k codexes, so theoretically there shouldn't be any more 40k stuff. What else? Oh, there's the new Kill Team, and there's also that Kill Team introduction set. I don't know if the new Kill Team will drop this year or next year. The one with the ratlings and the orcs in it. But if it does, and they do send it to me, I will 100% do it. Because a lot of people, you guys want orc content all the time. Josh, for my Carnosaur, is it Blood Angels red or Flesh Terrors red? Do you know, I can't remember. I have done the video, though. Let me look it up for you. I mean, there's the video. But... what did I do on the Carnosaur? Flesh Terrors red. Flesh Terrors red was the one I used first. And then there's MESBG. There's also Ember Guard. That was the Warhammer Underworld set that was previewed. So it might be that we don't have too much left to do this year, in which case that means that'll free me up to do some other stuff. Right, we might have time to just do another quick little coat. Do I want to do a quick one or a long one? A quickie or a longie? Let's do a quickie. 451 painted models are super impressive. I've only done 56 so far. 56 is still a good amount. That's more than one a week. That's good work. Well done, Mackie Mac. I have to do this amount of models because it's my job. But presumably, if I were to... No. If I was to do a bunch of Legions Imperialis, I could skyrocket to like 1,000 models, right? That's how it works. Yeah? Oh, don't know what happened there. Alright, we're going to film a quick take. We're going to do a quick colour, which is going to be some Blood Angels red. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Blood Angels red and we're going to apply this over 3 different areas. And these are going to be one, the plume on the helmet. The other is going to be the reins of each of our glyphs. And the third is going to be the grips on all the weapons and standards and things like that. And we're back. Hello everyone. There we go. Oh my goodness me. Pridders, thank you so much for the 50 of the finest English pounds. Thank you so much, Pridders. That's very kind of you. Towards the Titan Fund, no less. The day of suffering approaches. Another one down. Wait, is it? Did I miss a bit? Yeah. A very small little bit. And then our third and final one. And then I shall update the tracker. There we go. Oh. Bit of blobbage going on there, which we don't like. Yeah, that looks good. We did another one! Yay! Ugh. It's pretty good. It's pretty good going to have done 3 coats in an hour and a half. Ugh. Right, I need to update this. That puts us on way. Boosh. What do you think of the Dark Angels Christmas box? Think the box isn't terrible, but putting the lion in it surely puts any Dark Angels fans off, seeing as who doesn't already have the lion. Yeah, but then at the same time, you can buy it for a saving on all of the Terminators and Inner Circle companions, and then you can sell the lion to give yourself even more of a discount. Even if you sell it for 20 quid. You see what I mean? Paint until I finish the Warlord stream. Well, I think that is what everyone is angling for me to do. So, yes, if we do secure the Warlord's Titan, I'll have to get somebody to help me build it. Hopefully, Peter. But I don't want to assume. But I have to get someone to help me build it because I'm absolutely a wacky-handed builder and I will ruin it. And it's a very expensive model to get wrong. Unless someone wants to just come to my house and help me build it in a day, if that's even possible. And then yeah, we'll organize a 24-hour stream to try and paint a Warlord Titan in a single sitting. I shall spray it black and paint all of the metallics, and that will be it. Anyone have any big projects for 2025? Mine is probably the Charybdis Assault Claw I have coming. Oh, nice. My big project for next year is going to, funnily enough, is going to be sorting out all the miniatures I have and selling off a bunch of them, or giving away a bunch of kits that I don't need. Because we are hopefully going to move next year. Will be the big project next year, I think. Are you staying in Cheltenham? I'm not ruling that out, but we're probably not going to stay in Cheltenham now. We don't really know where we're going yet. But I've got to find a way to fund setting up the new studio, because I've got so many plans for how it can look and what it can look like, but they're all very expensive. So I think maybe selling a lot of my models will probably do that. Moving to 10 Downing Street or 221 Baker Street. I mean, if we can afford it, but we can't. Come down to Southampton. I hear Southampton's lovely this time of year. Maybe an auction. Yeah, something like that. I don't know what we're going to do. There's definitely going to be a degree of downsizing the amount of stuff that I need to move. And I think it's stuff like somewhere in this house there is a box that has like 20 Grey Knight Terminators and 30 Strike Marines, something like that, on sprue. There's basically enough models in this house for pretty much, I think, all 76 of you watching to do at least at least 2,000 point armies in various forms. And then there's a bunch of painted models as well that I have, but I should probably just do a does it give me joy? Does it spark joy? And then just sell it. Come to Glasgow. Glasgow, Southampton. two very, very different parts of the world. But yeah, we want to. I want to. London. Oh, we cannot afford London res. The only way we could afford London is if I spent the next year with. If we didn't do Warlord Fund, we changed it to London Fund, and it was like 150k that we were raising. But there's no chance. There's no universe where that would happen. I do think about selling my Alpha Legion from time to time, but then I'd only have one 40k army left, which, to be fair, is the one I almost always play with at the moment. That makes sense. So so this is an example of something that I could do. Okay. There is all the stuff I painted for Leviathan. Right, the Tyranids. It's all in here. So there's the Norn Emissary, there's all the Termagants, all that kind of stuff. Now, I also have a Pyrovore, a Lictor, 10 Gene Stealers, and 10 Hormagaunts. Yeah, which are unpainted. Now, if I finish those, it's about 1,700 points worth of Tyranids. My instinct would be to say, okay, let's sell the army. Or raffle it off, or auction it, or something like then, because I'm never gonna play with it. I'm just not. It's not gonna happen. So really, it's just I'm just kind of sort of holding on to it for the sake of it. But because of the way my brain works, I would need to concentrate on that as a project across my entire collection. I would need to just be like, okay, you. You're going in the keep pile. You're going in the bye pile. I can't do it piecemeal because I just can't concentrate on it that way. Set up an academy and charge. I mean, I could do that. Do you plan to sell any of the AOS stuff as well? I mean, yeah, look, there's a universe where some of that can go. I really love my AOS models, so it would have to be Alice just being like, "Go on, do you really think this will go? Do you really want to keep this?" But there's things like what you say, selling a Night Lord's kill team. I mean, but again, another great example. There's the Night Lords. There's the Mandrakes. It's all about like what's the stuff that I want to keep in order to maintain a decent collection, in order to be able to, when we move. So I want to be able to set up a studio in such a way that it is possible to live stream and film games, and to be able to do Warcry, Underworlds, MESBG, 40k, AOS, Titanicus, Legions Imperialis, to do all of that, to be able to make that kind of content as well. We just can't do it here. There's no room, and it doesn't look good in the shed. It just doesn't. The shed's painted yellow on the inside. It's a horrible colour. So it just makes everything in the room look yellow, kind of like an off sort of urine colour. So it just looks bad, right? So I want to be able to set up a studio in such a way that we can do that, to augment the painting content. So that when the sprue reviews happen, we can also do book reviews. But we can do... The way I want to review a book is by reviewing it by playing out combos, if you see what I mean. To be like, hey, you know, everyone thinks these Stormstrike Palladors are bad, but like, this is something that you can do, and I'll demonstrate this for you. So rather than just like kind of like being like this is this, and this is what this does, and this is what that does. I just think it would look nicer to be able to be like, I've got the models, I've painted the models for you, I'll demonstrate the rule as it is in the book for the exciting new miniature, and you can see how it works. So, like, do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So rather than like a full battle report, because inevitably in a battle report you don't actually see everything that happens, because invariably the opponent goes, hello everybody, we're doing a battle report today using the new Blood Angels. The new Sanguinary Guard are really strong. And then the opponent goes, yeah, cool, I'm going to shoot 50 las cannons at them so we don't get to see them. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, well, cool, I wish I knew what they did. So that's part of why I want to move, is to, well, we want to move because we want to buy a house together, but I want to do that. I want to set up a really, really cool YouTube studio, but if there is space for another person to also work in there, which is what hopefully I would want, it is that we would be able to grow the channel in terms of the amount of people that work here from 1 to 2, doubling in size. Like scenarios to show off how the rules interactions work. That would be cool. Yeah, exactly that, right? Because I think it's all well and good talking about it, but I think it's just really dull content. It's basically man reads book, and I don't really want to make man reads book content. So just being able to be like, this is the change to this rule, and what this means is it does this, and you show it happening in a cool environment, is how I picture that kind of thing happening. So like, a good example would have been the new edition of Kill Team. It would have been really fun to make a video about all the changes to the rules for Kill Team by showing the changes to the rules to Kill Team, rather than just telling you what they are. I think it just makes for a slightly more engaging, but a slightly more kind of a much more informative video, which is kind of more about what we do around here. And like, I think there's elements of what lots of people do when it comes to this type of content that are done really well, that if you were to put them all together would make the definitive video. So like when people math hammer out a new weapon, that's all well and good, but surely you'd prefer to see it happen rather than someone just tell you statistically the lance is better than the sword. I would rather go, let's actually just roll some dice and see if and do it like 3 times, so it's not, there's no, you can account for anomalous dice. You see what I mean? That's the kind of rules content I want to make. But I don't have the space to do it now. We just can't do it. Not in a way that looks good. Like I said, it just looks like crap every time I've tried to do it, and I don't really want to put out bad looking videos. I already do enough of those on a weekly basis. Way. Oh, dearie me. So yeah, I mean that's my our big project for next year is that. It also just would be nice, I think, for me to just get every model out and look at it. Because at the moment they're just all over the place. It'd be nice to just behold my works, you know? The channels that do rules reviews tend to lean more comp, so they often write off combos, whereas you exploring them would help people see the other options too. Yeah. Yeah, so I always think about, like, when I approach list building, I generally tend to just do it myself. I don't really want to, I don't like other people clouding my opinion, as it were. So for example, I think Stormstrike Palladors, there is a real play there combined with Vanda's Hammerhand, which will hit like an absolute truck. Because the Stormstrike Palladors, when you initially read the War Scroll, you think, oh, it's terrible. They're really not very good. But then they have a rule on their War Scroll that is, if any warrior chamber unit has been slain this battle, not turn, battle, they get fights first, and they get to re-roll their charges. Their weapons, sword or lance, it's the same profile. It's just one profile. Are like 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, rend 1, damage 1, but they also get anti-infantry +1 rend and charge +1 damage. And then you throw in Vandus, giving them +1 to hit because they're a friendly warrior chamber unit, which you can do, and immediately fighting after him. You can have this huge truck of things. I think it's a winner, personally. I think it's really strong. Blood Angels, I know you use a mix for shade. Any other suggestions for shading Baal Red? I hate mixing stuff. Berserker Bloodshade might do you. The reason I mean, you don't really have to. You don't really. It's not really a mix. It's just thinning it down. But like, the reason I use Blood Angels Red mixed with some medium is because it's a really vibrant red shade over the top of the Baal Red. Your other option would be to just use some Agrax Earthshade as a recess shade, but you're just going to take 4 million years doing that. Good chance for me that you will paint Vandus in the near future. Asmodus, you're... I meant to prime him today. I thought there was a possibility that I might be able to do him this week. I don't think I will, though. I'll have to see how I get on. If I finish these Stormstrike Palladors tonight, maybe. I don't think I will, though. I don't think there's enough time. It's just a lot to do. How long do you think the current Vandus model will stick around for? If it doesn't get a new model in... Well, it didn't get a new model. So, if he is going to get a new model, it will be during the narrative lead in to AOS 5. So you have about 2.5 years for that of Vandus, I think. I don't think they'll just do it in the middle of nowhere. You know, there's usually what you'll see is, well, now it's the same for 40k, right? You'll just see the codexes and what new models come with them. AOS is battle tomes and what new models come with them. And then next year, funnily enough, the year after next, so next year is an off year, so there's no new edition. So I'm really excited for summer next year because I've absolutely no idea what their big product is going to be in the summer. And that's really, really, really cool and exciting. So we'll see what that is. But the year after, so 2026, that will be 40k 11. And 2027 will be AOS 5. So you'll either see a new Vandus at the end of 2026 or at the beginning of 2027. This Stormcast release should wrap up the Stormcast / Skaven storyline for a bit. How long does GW keep them running before they shift focus typically? So the Skaven Stormcast, basically the appearance of the Vermin Doom and Blight City is going to be the thing that runs until that narrative campaign. That narrative campaign that leads into 5th will either conclude it in favour of either Skaven or the Stormcast, or it'll just be a flat draw. And then we'll move on to Death next, 2027. Will be a Death edition. So who knows what that's going to be in that. And then 2030 will be Destruction. Will be Destruction. Hopefully Battlefleet Gothic next year. See, I think that there's a chance that Battlefleet Gothic will happen. I don't think it's going to be the summer release because I just don't think it's going to be. It will be big enough. New faction or one of the current ones. I could see. It being a new one. It won't be Nighthaunt. Soulblight and Flesh Eaters have already had a load of stuff. Ossiarchs don't... Well, there will be new models for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, but I don't think they'll lead an edition. Who knows? We'll see. Do you ever do sub-assemblies? I find that I sub-assembly too much. I even sub-assembly standard infantry because I don't think my ham hands would be able to do the details if I do full assembly. No, I never do sub-assemblies. Well, I say never. I probably 1% of the time will do a sub-assembly. I think there are times when I probably should, but I generally don't. For me, it's about speed. Subassembling means I have to work in a completely different way in order to paint one thing, which ultimately I'm only doing because I want to paint something that you're never going to see. Do you see what I mean? So it's like I don't want to have I don't have time to prime. I don't have time to prime the bodies, the guns, the arms, the heads, the shields, the swords all separately. I also absolutely don't have time to drill holes and put pegs in order to be able to hold the damn things. It's just way too much. It's way too much time. Dylan, hello. You do nice videos and it built up my confidence to start painting. Thank you, Dylan. Welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed painting. I'm glad you started painting. Yeah, I think sometimes what we could all do with, and I'm including myself in this, which is why, for example, on the Hive Storm terrain, I primed it black. All right, and the point I'm making is, I think we can all do a certain job every so often of just evaluating our own habits when it comes to painting, because I think you can fall into a trap of doing something that was appropriate once, looked good once, and you've now done it all the time, and it is actually is the root of something that is stressing you out because it's taking so long to finish models. An example of that would be if you zenithal prime everything, you're wasting time. You know, between those coats of priming. Yeah, it's really slowing me down and making it a bore at times. Partly why I need a break from Tau. Currently making up the models from the Osgiliath set. I mean, there's not really a lot that needs... I mean, the thing to do, right, is to look at a model and just think, really, is it going to be that difficult to get my brush in there? So like, I demonstrated this the other day on Vandus, and I'll do it again. It'll be the last thing we do because I'm going to run for my dinner in a minute. But so like, when we look at a model like Vandus Hammerhand, right, there's an argument to be made, right, that you would leave the cloak off so that you can paint the entirety of the cloak. But, I mean, you can't see anything up there. So, I mean? So, like, leaving the cloak off means that you'll then spend a whole bunch of time under here on the Dracoth, which you don't need to do because that's just going to be some gold. So when it comes to painting it, right, you see these are gold. These are going to be armor plates, right? So when it comes to painting it, we only need to apply some gold and then shade it. We don't need to relayer it and line highlight it because you're never going to see it. But you are going to see it if I do this. So all I need to do is just get in there and apply the gold like that and come down, and then I'm done. And then when I apply my Fire Slayer flesh over it, I'll be done. I won't go back to in there. So similarly, like under there, you are never going to see the back of sometimes like a saddlecloth, but you can still get to it if you want to. So you can get to the back of that saddlecloth there. that way. And you can do the same thing on that side. You can't get to the back of the saddlecloth from this direction. You just can't, but you can from the other direction. It's the same for like right up in there. You're never going to see up behind his shoulder. Ever. So you don't need to do all of his back plates or anything like that, because you're never going to see it. You're never going to get to it. Ever. No one's going to see it. You're not going to see it. You're not going to care about it. It's done at that point, right? So, like, I mean, this is a pretty easy model because he's quite open, right? But, like, on this Stormstrike Pallador, for example, I've done the gold under there. As you can see. But I'm not going to go in there and line highlight it. There's no point. There's absolutely no point. Because the only way someone is ever going to see it is if they go, oh, you've done a really good job on that. You've not line highlighted the underside of that breastplate. And if someone's doing that, it'd be like, yeah. Why would I? Do you have any advice for making a golden cloth that doesn't look too metallic? Ideally like Gil-galad in Rings of Power or some of the War of Wrath artwork. You want to use a combination of yellows and browns to do non-metallic metal. But beyond that, I have no advice because non-metallic metal is a lot of effort. The other thing you can do is you can just use a mid-brown, something like Wildwood, and then highlight it with a metallic yellow, metallic gold. Also, please stop touching my model. Well, exactly. You've done a really great job on that model. Actually, it looks like shit. Oh, I'll throw it in the bin then. What do you think of Rings of Power? I think it's alright. Rings of Power is afraid to show us a cavalry charge, and it really annoys me. It's 2 seasons in a row where they've advertised it like there's going to be a big cavalry charge, and both seasons it's not happened. It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense. It really irritates me. But anyway, guys, we're going to finish because it's time for me to go and have my dinner. And then after that, it's back to painting these Stormstrike Palladors. They should have rode through Galadriel. They're all on horses, and a bunch of them have got bows, and there's one orc holding a blade to Galadriel. Just shoot it. Easy. And then continue the charge. No, we're going to get off our horses and have a fight in the mud. Oh, so stupid. Anyway, it's because they don't want to film a cavalry charge. They don't want to do it. They don't want to show it. They want to advertise it, but they're not going to show you a cavalry charge. Maybe in season 3 we'll actually see one happen. But I will take that with a grain of a pinch of salt. Anyway, I'm going to jump off now, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you very much for all of the gifted memberships, for the super chats. You guys are absolute legends. I really appreciate it. I love you. And I love you all for liking the stream and hanging out with me today. We will be back tomorrow with a painting video, probably Iridan the Witness. I didn't do one yesterday because I just couldn't face doing any editing, and I had a big Portaloo to paint. For those of you who hadn't seen it already, who joined us late, I finished this yesterday. So Stormreach Portal. What is that? What it's called? Video on the way as well. But thank you so much. There will be a painting video tomorrow. There will be a stream on Wednesday, and then it will be painting videos from Thursday to Tuesday, I think, is what's going to be happening. So I'll see you all very soon in the next one, and I'll speak to you all on Wednesday. Love you. Here is the hand of farewell. I shall wave it at you. Goodbye for now. Have a great one. Bye. Bye. Love you. Bye. But didn't paint under it. There's no detail under it, Alan. Bye.